the days that you wish your bed was already made. It's just another Manic Monday. Wish it was a Sunday. That's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another Manic Monday. Who wants to join me? Does anybody want me to click the invite and you want to dance with me today? Manic Monday. Wish it was a Sunday. And that's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another Manic Monday. Come on, honey, let's go make some noise. Time goes so fast when you're having fun. Just another Manic Monday. Wish it was a fun day, 'cause that's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another Manic Monday. Hey there! I hope you were joining me in that. I might not have seen ya, but I was feeling ya. How you doing on this Manic Monday? Whew. Well, I'm always good, honestly. Even when I think I'm not feeling so well. It's always a sign that I need to pay attention more to what's going on inside, right? So we have this inner guru. We're not always paying attention to it. But all the wisdom and the knowledge, everything we claim we need a solution to, is right here within us. So, of course, I have a little bit of wind because I just was jamming it out, right? What do you think? Anybody having any struggles on this Monday? It's no longer the weekend. The humdrum, the day is just the beginning of another week, but it's just the beginning of another day. The blessing that you woke up with, that you yourself are able to live and breathe this amazing life. What do you think? It's not all that bad, really. Whew, make sure you got your water on hand. So, yeah, you know what? It would be so awesome for those of you out there. Maybe you haven't been able to be here with me dancing, but maybe you could send me, after I'm done with this video, stick a link in below or a copy, a video of you dancing, and put it to the Manic Monday music. That would be really cool. We can all see each other's different styles. Hey, Garrett. Hey, Tom. Hey, Carl. Hey, I know Billy, Lorraine, John, Stephen, Dennis, Desi, Sandy, Jennifer, Lorenza. Bienvenuto. How are you doing today? So here's my question. Do you have any struggles today? And how are you handling them? Because here's mine. It's really not that bad. And I'll get back to you on that question about the peach recipe idea. I was actually thinking about that this morning because last year around this time I made this amazing vegan cheesecake with peaches and raspberries to die for, and I brought it for a goddess gathering. It was like a collective birthday party, And all of my girlfriends were like, anytime you want to test out any recipes, I'm right here. They were all loving it. So I actually woke up yesterday morning feeling a little tender, a little bit of lymphatic swelling up here, inflammation, okay? And I'm like going, wow, okay. Well, when I went to bed on Saturday, and this is just a share of something I do. When I go to bed at night and I'm laying in my bed, I place my left hand on my heart, my right hand on my belly, and I start to tap into my inner child. Because, that's the time, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to adjust the lighting. I don't know why, but for some reason, it's not as bright in here as it really is. Not reflecting on my video. Maybe, white walls are better than they were before. They were sage green and it was darker in here. But, so I just tap in and I go into that space, that inner child of mine that needs my attention, that needs me to acknowledge, recognize, and be there for it. And just, let's go. This is something new I've been doing. I've been doing this for about a month maybe. That usually I'll ask what it needs, but I'm kind of working in communion with my own inner child. I said, you know what? Let's go into the Akashic Records. Let's rewrite some of our stories. Let's rewrite some of the history and the future. Let's work on making this an even more amazing, ecstatic life, right? Hey, Shelly. And I just lay there. And on Saturday night specifically, I've had a little bit of tension build up, especially on my left side. For years, I've been really big on the jaw clenching. And I know heavy metals will cause you to actually clench your jaw. And when I was in the Air Force and I was in my 20s, 1920, I can't remember if I was just turned 20 or 19 at the time. I think it was before I went to Korea. I was out on a date and I had a chicken soft taco. No, it was kind of like where they fry the external shell and it was crunchy. Well, as a result, a piece of taco got stuck in the back of my mouth. And so it caused this inflammation. I had to go to the dental emergency, and they took it out. They did a water irrigation. And in the end, they were like, you still have your wisdom teeth. You should really schedule to have those removed. I'm like thinking, okay, I guess I'm supposed to. So honestly, did I need to? Not necessarily. They're wisdom teeth. They're there for a reason. There's really no reason to start going in and removing things that aren't harming you. So, because what was happening was the swelling was also because they were starting to come up. And so I succumbed to being the good doobie that I was growing up. I did a lot of things that I was told, thinking the doctors had my best interest at heart. But the truth of the matter is I did not need to have them removed. And I even remember being in that surgery. I remember, laughing because they tell you to count down as they give you that whatever that stuff is. I forgot what it's called. And as I was drifting off, I'm like laughing. But at certain points, I woke up and I could hear them breaking the teeth. I actually heard them doing it. And afterward, I didn't know what TMJ was. I heard about people talking how their jaws would lock up, but I never had a true locking jaw. I would get pops, not knowing that was also a symptom of TMJ. Temporomandibular something. Jaw? I don't know. I can't remember. So this side sometimes feels a little sore, and I'll be like, and then it'll go pop. And I actually had to go back to the doctor because I was feeling funky. Hey, Sophia. Hey, Victoria. And over the course of the years, here I am living with this, the little bit of tension, the popping, not knowing that it was still a problem. I just thought it was, I guess, normal. I don't know. I lived with a lot of things that weren't necessarily normal, never questioning them. I also pushed through a lot of pain over the course of my life, too, which was totally unnecessary. I used to, again, it's that old paradigm, that old thinking that I have to do things harder in order to show success, and nothing comes without hard work. And as a result, I was actually inflicting more pain, suffering upon my physical body as a result of buying into a story that wasn't even true. So going back to, again, when you're clenching the jaw, it ends up creating this muscular tension that travels down the neck. It truly, and I know this from my own x-rays, because when I had my bite created, they took a picture of me with my mouth normal and with the bite, and the bite showed the difference. What happens is each cervical vertebrae becomes compressed. When you clench, you're causing actual compression of all those vertebrae in the cervical spine, which is why people have issues with pinched nerves, disc problems, and it can cause additional problems. So I know mine actually travels into here, down into my shoulders, into my mid-back, behind my scapulas, and it's painful because you don't always notice it. A lot of people say, oh, I don't grind my teeth. Let me tell you, go to Walmart, get one of those dollar mouth guard things, and you will be surprised. You will find out whether or not you're a jaw clencher or not. Just by wearing one of those overnight, the next morning you wake up and it's like, oh, something feels different. It's the weirdest sensation, because that was the first time I actually learned about it. I was going, wow, that's true. But even further back, actually, I have to take that back, because I went to an osteopath when I was in England in 2006, I believe, and 2005 or 6. And the osteopath, I was having vertigo at night, and I mean, to the point where I could have been, I was nauseous, vomiting, like not feeling well, like the whole room spinning. I was laying in bed, I wasn't doing anything. And I was just like, oh my God, freaking out, going, what is going on with me? When I went to the osteopath, they massaged these muscles to kind of release the tension, because it was all originating up here. Now, they didn't exactly tell me that's what was happening. They even went inside, but they knew that it was TMJ. And I was already out of the Air Force, and I still didn't know that that was coming from having had my wisdom teeth replaced or removed. And I'm like, they went inside my mouth and did a little bit of massaging. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's painful. And that's happened a couple times over the years. But then when I got the bite, that changed everything. And seeing the difference between my x-rays with and without that bite, whoa, that was a serious eye-opener. I'm like going, there's proof that here I am clenching my jaw. Even if I don't think I am, it was my bite is also off as a result of the wisdom teeth being extracted. Because everything we do is compensated in such a way that when you feel pain in one area, you don't even realize you're compensating in another to feel better. You know, like people have hip problems. Well, you're probably favoring one side or the other, and as a result, it puts us out of balance. So the pictures actually revealed, without the bite, there was compression in each one of my cervical spine. And with the bite, it showed the space, the proper spacing between each of the vertebrae in my spine, in my cervical spine. I'm like going, whoa, that's incredible. Send me a copy of that. I want to see that, have a copy of that. So, wow, sometimes it's those little things that you're going, I would have never known. I would have never known had I not gone to somebody who could show me. And sometimes we feel like we need to see it in person, like show me proof, when our body's actually telling us, but we're not always tapping into it. So on Sunday morning, I woke up and I felt this tenderness. Well, last week, my chiropractor did do a massage to release some tension that had built up in here. And what happens is this particular little, now I'm not going to remember all the joints and the muscles, but it was so tight that when I pushed on it, I was feeling it across here all the way down my arm. And my left side, because you're seeing the mirror of me, this is my left side back in 2007, because I'd hit my head, was in like serious nerve pain. And as a result of that nerve pain, it was like, here I was massaging areas that really wasn't something that it was relieving, but it was kind of giving a little relief. It wasn't removing it because it was nerve pain, and nerve pain means that your body is trying to heal. And there's inflammation around the nerve sheath, okay, the protective layer. So my waking up yesterday, I'm like going, well, when I went to bed on Saturday night, like I was saying, I was actually speaking to my body as well and saying, let's release this tension, because it's stronger that I bite on my left, that it pulls my right side over. And it's crazy because when you look in the mirror and you can see like the jaw actually gets pulled and tugged on the side you're actually clenching more on. So if I'm clenching more on my left, it's pulling across this way, which is also creating this entire imbalance of the other side of my body, which to me was, and I love my chiropractor. I find it phenomenal. I'm constantly asking questions. I'm like, so I know the emotional connection, and he likes it too because I ask questions that not many other patients are going to be as aware of or involved in. So I know there's emotional connections to the physical body and how it manifests. I also know that when there's inflammation, there's a couple reasons. One, inflammation can be a sign of anger, built up anger, seething, inflamed, and it's also the body's way of healing. Inflammation is not a bad thing, but most people think, oh my gosh, I have this swollen gland, I need to go to the doctor. No, you don't. You don't unless it gets to the point where you just keep on ignoring it and don't actually allow your body the time to heal. So, woke up this morning. It wasn't that bad yesterday, but I was paying attention. I'm like going, okay, it's definitely this lymphatic gland going along the side of my jaw underneath my ear. And last night I was feeling that there's actually the nodule and mass is kind of grown. What this tells me about my body is that there's clearly something my body is pulling out, some toxin. Now I mentioned I had coffee the other day, so it could be something as simple as having coffee with the heavy metals and the excitotoxins, maybe even mold. We don't even know, but you got to kind of pay attention of what have I consumed? What have I put in my body that has created this? Or is it mental too? Because, this is our truth. This is our creative center, the throat chakra. Sometimes we suppress our truth. Sometimes we're not open to hearing, because it's also connected with the hearing too. And listening and expressing. There's a lot involved. And wow, Sandy. Yeah. And learning about your own body. It's so much more powerful when you start to listen to your own body, because you're going, okay, I get it. I hear what you're saying, and I'm getting the sign, and I recognize what my body tells me and how it tells me. So this morning when I'm like going, oh my gosh, this is really tender. I mean, it's even gotten up a little bit in here, and I'm like going, oh, it's not that bad. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like it's inhibiting anything, but it's not the normal. So I don't know if you can tell because the lighting in here is a little funky, but this part here is, if I grab this, it's this big mass, right? So we have these lymphatic drainage areas, and a lot of people take for granted that when they get this inflammation in these particular areas. The other thing is our body will also give us signs that it's going to go through this extreme healing. It can also be an energetic crisis, is what I'm trying to say. So energy shifting. A lot of people's stuff has been coming to surface since the new moon on Friday, and we don't always see that what's lying under the surface manifests in the body. And then when it comes up, we're like, oh my gosh. We want to try to say it's something else, but a lot of times it's also energetic changes in our life that are physically coming through the body, and we're attuning and opening up and waking up to another dimension and another vibration. And as strange as that may sound to some people, you'll get it over time if you start paying attention and tuning in and listening to your intuition, listening to your inner wisdom. So here's what I did first thing this morning, and I've been dragging butt. My bed was really beautiful this morning because I think I fell asleep around 1 a.m. And I have to admit, there's the duality of me is, darn it, I wanted to get up early. I wanted to get a good start to the day. I wanted to take a walk. I wanted to do the yard work. I wanted to do this, that, blah, 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 blah. You know, I had the wanna, should, the to-do list. And then I'm laying in bed and going, try not to do that to yourself, because clearly your body needs the extra rest and you have to honor it. And there's nothing wrong with it. Even if it's a subtle depression, yeah, dragging butt. I was going to say dragging ass, but I prefer butt. But it doesn't matter, because even if you're going through a subtle depression, it's okay. And I do that sometimes. I'll stay in bed and be like, I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to do anything. And you have to honor that. You can't turn around and beat yourself up about it, because it's that energy, and you have to honor everything you're going through. And as long as you don't get stuck in the mind, rest is the best thing you can do. So I got up. First thing I do is I drink a full, this is what? Is it 28 ounces? It's 28 or 32 ounces. And yes, Shelley, yes. And so, especially with the jaw clenching, right? And so when I was 17, I actually should have gone through the windshield of a car, and it caused also another compression on my cervical spine that I never related to the reality that in addition to having the wisdom teeth removed was completely traumatic to my cervical spine, my jaw, and everything. And so I got up, I drank my water, did my routine with my brushing my teeth, and I scrape my teeth. I do alum to clean my mouth, which it gets the salivary glands out and it gets rid of all the toxins. And then I went and I'm like going, okay, we have to give this some serious healing herbs or something. I use rosehip ground powder as a form of vitamin C. Mostly because kind of one of the things I've learned is that as much as I like orange juice and citrus, fresh squeezed and everything, hey Carol, hey Ava, I love fresh squeezed orange juice, have loved it since I was a kid. It's one of the first things I do when I go to Europe is go to the bar and get it fresh squeezed, because they have the machines and everything's automated. But the problem is that I'm an O-type blood, and citrus is not necessarily something that's good for us. From what I've learned also, I kind of wonder, even with the lemon juice with my teeth, some of the stuff I've been dealing with over the past few years since I went raw vegan. And I just decided, here's what I'm going to do. I made an herbal elixir the other day, which has ashwagandha. I know you're all going to be like, what the heck is she saying? A bunch of Ayurveda herbs, because I kind of dabble in a little bit of everything, just based on intuitively knowing and learning over the course of years. Guggulu, which is one of my favorite words to say in the Ayurvedic herb realm. Some Shilajit, which is great. It's got fulvic acid in it. And but to try to get it from a source is always the best. That's the most important thing. I mean, I like to eat my medicine, my food as the healing component. But what I did was I also had some MSM. So with the herbal elixir, there's more stuff that I had put in it. And there was some cacao in there and some chicory root too. And some rooibos tea, which herbal tea. And also some gynostemma, which is amazing for women, GYNNOSTEMMA, and some horsetail shave grass is the other name, and also some pau d'arco, PAOD''ARCO. And so with this blend, there's probably something else in there, nettle root. I decided I added 3 things to it, because they're really good for really clearing out your body. And I'm going to warn you, because it will clean you out too. MSM, which is extremely good for pulling out and clearing out a lot of toxicity. Chlorella, same thing. And the vitamin C via the rosehip powder. Those 3 things, it didn't take much. It went through me. But I did that specifically to see if that will help aid in this drawing out of toxins, because the lymphatic system acts up when it's trying to clear out toxicity, bacteria, pathogens, anything that's going on in the body. It's a good thing when this happens. This isn't a bad thing. You don't run to the doctor for antibiotics because then you're going to weaken your own immune system. You want to use what is at your disposal, but in a balance. So what that's telling me, and here's where we get to it. Carol, I'm talking about an inflammation here. This is lymphatic. I have this like really swollen spot in my neck, right? This is my jawline naturally, but it's actually extended out from here. And then even this side's, it's normal. It's hard to see in my lighting. It's not the greatest. But it also kind of brought up I had an ex-boyfriend who was an alcoholic, and he had severe inflammation around his neck. And it was a result of all of the alcohol he was putting in his body. In addition to, I can only imagine his liver. This is what was swelling up for him with with alcoholism. When I see people, I can kind of tell. I'm like, ooh, they probably drink a lot. So something is being pulled out of my system. I don't know what, and that's okay. But what this is really bringing in for me is that it's time to do a fast. Whether it's 24 hours or 48 hours or 72. And a true fast, eliminating everything. Now, it's a little tough if you've had caffeine because the first 24 hours, 48 hours can bring on a serious migraine if you're somebody who does do caffeine. Hey, Greg, thanks for joining. Jeanette. What ends up happening is you need to let your body have a break because the body is telling you, we need to work a little overtime here, and there's something we're focusing on to heal. The more you start shoveling stuff in your mouth, you're giving it more stuff to confuse it. Okay, I go over here and I digest, but I got to go back here and work on this healing. And true fasting, not cleansing, there's a huge difference. And I was corrected by a friend who wanted to kind of berate me about it, but water only. A true fast is water only. It's not adding anything. It's not taking supplements. It's not taking vitamins. It's not doing the chlorella or the vitamin C or the MSM that I did this morning. I did that specifically to kind of kickstart and try to pull out anything that might be lingering. And then it's going to be a little tough because you all saw yesterday I went to the grocery to the market and I picked up all those beautiful fruits and vegetables and produce, and I'm like going, okay, well, I know I got to take the jackfruit apart. I got to clean off some of the jackfruit meat. So it's very possible I may eat some of that before I really go full on into this. But a true fast is water only. From the time you stop eating, it's going to take digestive time too for whatever you may consume. But it's healing. And that's what a fast is all about. And you can heal so much with a fast. And it gives you clarity. A fast will make you feel like you're on top of the world after you get over the hump of anything that's in your body that it gets rid of. Like I said, if you drink coffee, even chocolate has caffeine in it. And I love my chocolate. But I also go through phases where I actually don't touch it and I see the difference in how my body reacts. So if anybody out there's done it, let me know. You have MSM, but you haven't taken it. It helps remove toxins. It's good for building the bones, strengthening the nervous system, especially like repairing the sheath around the myelin sheath and the sheath around the nerves that protects us, especially the heavy metals. And that's a big deal because a lot of foods we don't stop to think, how is it produced? The reason we talk about staying away from GMO and pesticide infested foods, why there's the dirty dozen and everything. You want to be aware because pesticides, they contain heavy metals. Heavy metals do a number on the brain. That's why people are having so many neurological issues. And heavy metals can sit in your fat, in your body for years, in the organs. And it inhibits your body from absorbing the nutrients that you put into it. So you can think, oh, well, I'm eating healthy. Yeah, but if you haven't detoxified the heavy metals, you're putting good stuff in, but maybe it's just going straight through. So these are some of the many reasons that people are struggling with fatigue, chronic fatigue system, brain fog, all these different diseases. We're just ignoring what's really going on in the body, and we may have something that's built up over time. You can say, oh, well, I eat healthy. And I remember when I was in Sicily, a man, I said I was gluten-free. I walked into what are they called? The bakery, and my friend was buying the Sicilian bread with the sesames on them, fresh, warm, and I can't eat it anymore. So this particular visit, I was like, I remember what it tastes like. It tastes great, but the man across the counter, he's like, oh, I said, I'm allergic to gluten. I can't eat it. So here he is saying, oh, and he had this big belly. And I'm looking at him just like, not going to say anything. He's like, yeah, I got a cast iron stomach. I can eat anything. Well, you know what? You can eat arsenic every day and it won't kill you right away, but it's cumulative. It's what we've put in our body all those years that accumulates, causes the degradation of our body. And people wake up one day, I don't know what's wrong. I never had this problem. I never had this allergy. I never had all these physical illnesses and issues. Well, you know what? Your body was probably always talking to you, you just weren't listening. I know, I'm one of them. I only speak from experience because that's all I know. So the other thing is if you do have a belly, if you have this big belly, I want you to look at it and go, what am I protecting myself from? Because this is your emotional center. And a lot of people who put on weight around the belly, the tire, for example, they are not wanting to confront things. It's a protective layer, especially when it comes to emotions. A lot of times they're the type of people that don't want you to be direct with them. They're the type of people who avoid confrontation in any form. And if you notice conversations with somebody who's got a belly and especially a tire around them, you may even notice that when you bring something up that you're just trying to make them aware of, they may want to kind of brush you off on it, because what they're doing is they prefer the beat around the bush. They don't like to be told directly if something is wrong with them, because they're protecting. There's something emotional they've suppressed, and they're kind of like, okay, I need an extra layer of protection. And it literally is the physical manifestation of the mind, of the emotions, of the situation, the traumas that have happened in their lives. And so the other problem is that you're really suffocating the organs. When you have those extra layers, your body, that's also inflammation. It's not just fat. It's a form of inflammation. And the more fat you have around your body, the higher the chances you have a heavy metal situation going on, because that's where it lodges. You know what, Victoria, I'm going to have to, I totally get what you're saying. The meditation is going to help you the most. The silence is, so she has a nodule on her thyroid and it's benign. And that's not a bad thing, because it's possible the nodule is just trying to help with the balance. But the breath work is the biggest thing that you can work on. And I'm going to stress this to everyone. I don't have the answers for what will work for you. I'm not a doctor. I can only tell you that from my experience, the more you tap into the breathing and actually listen to it versus allowing the mind to take over. Because whenever you catch your mind going off on the monkey tailspin, right, chasing its own tail, the more you have the opportunity as a witness to go, oh, check that out. Yep, see you going off on your little tangent. And then just tune back into the breath. Listen to the sound of your own breath. It will calm your wandering mind. I love that quote I got from another friend who teaches Svarupa Yoga, which is also named Bliss Yoga, Bone Bliss Yoga. And it's the breathing. The breath is going to heal us the most, every single one of us, because the breath is the life force. It's what charges us. It's what regenerates. It maintains and nurtures our system. Like I said, when you go into a fast mode, you're going to want to breathe more and drink water. That's all. because now you're giving your body a rest, you're giving it a break, and allowing it to heal itself. It doesn't need any minerals, nutrients, supplements. It doesn't need food. But what it does need is a rest from all the crap we pile in on it, right? So all this stuff builds up on us over the course of years because we just keep suffocating and suppressing things down just by this, right? This is the biggest way that most of us, through eating, don't confront and deal with our stuff. So when we're struggling and suffering, it's all starting up in here, but so many of us are so deeply unconscious in our behaviors as a result of what we're not even confronting. We're like, it's back here. We don't always go, oh yeah, I know that's why I'm reaching for this. But when you do catch yourself and you go, okay, my mind was just reflecting upon this memory as a child, and now you're reaching for something particular to soothe you. That's humbling. I did it this weekend where I caught myself eating kale chips because I felt like I needed something crunchy and salty. Did I really need the kale chips? I'm not really big on them as much as I used to be. But I recognized it was also what's going on in my life right now. So a mineral power program for 7 months and don't have that fatigue and brain fog as well as bad. Yeah. Again, the whole meditation too. Sometimes, yeah, those cleanses and those programs are fantastic. I'm not going to poo-poo on anything. You've got to find your journey. This is the beauty of life. I'm sharing my personal experience, and I think it's beautiful because we can all kind of reflect on each other's personal experiences to recognize, oh, wow, that's an idea. Would I do this? Would I do that? You got to kind of follow the path that you're guided on and not get dogmatic on anything because you just never know. One day from the next, just be content with the presence, the now, right where you're at. This moment is all that counts. So what's going to work in this moment? I'm going to drink my water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So the meditation, again, it's always going to go back to the breath. The breath is the best way to keep your focus and just and haven't you noticed, like, when your mind gets a little crazy, you hold your breath. Don't get caught up in that, because when you hold your breath, you're actually suffocating yourself. It's like you're holding something against yourself and you're going, whoa, where was I just now? And why am I holding my breath? What am I holding against myself that I'm suffocating and not allowing the breathing, the movement of this prana life force throughout the course of my body? Invigorating every cell, allowing it to feel vibrant, energized, awakened, alive. Because when we feel the most suffocated, heavy weighted, and fatigued, unhappy, that's where the breath comes in. Yeah, okay, I'm saying this and I'm realizing, yeah, if I'm feeling a little depressed in the morning, I just need to tap into my breath. That could be all the game changer for many people, especially if you severely suffer from depression or anything of a brain fog or, overwhelm. It's always going to come back to the breath because we can't live without some form of breathing. But the key is to really get those deep belly breaths. Babies know how to breathe. If you ever watch a baby, their belly expands. Babies are amazing. They can teach us everything we forgot about, right? So you breathe deeply into that pelvic floor and allow that belly to rise out and lift up through the diaphragm and the chest and the clavicle. And then exhale, and everything just releases and relaxes. Just 3 breaths or taking a minute to breathe, you feel the difference. You take the time for you to reawaken the cells in the body. Hi, Christiana. So good to have you join us. And so really it's about tuning in to what's going on. And if you are shoving food in your mouth, like I may have been this weekend. Not a lot. I mean, I wasn't eating a lot of food. It was just maybe I was grabbing the kale chips on Saturday. I grabbed and ate the whole Hail Mary mint chocolate tart, which I'm not complaining about because it was yummy. Just that melting chocolate. But in the end, I also knew, Sunday morning came. I'm like going, okay, I only had a sip of the coffee, but did that cause it too? Or was it just my mind? Because this is all about my truth. This is all about me tapping into my creativity, my self-expression, speaking, which I'm doing here with you. And this is creating a big change for me. And I'm physically feeling it and witnessing it going on in my own body. And because this is the left side, this is also the feminine side. So there's that, obviously I'm being very vulnerable and courageous to share what I share with you on all of my videos. I'm not holding anything back. I really don't have anything to hide because again, truth is there. Whether or not you hear my version or you witness and you see your version, because we only see truth through our filters. Truth is only based on what you experienced in your life, your belief systems, they're filters, because everybody's truth is different. You can experience the same thing, but that doesn't mean the neutral truth is ever going to be witnessed by you or the other people or person. Truth has no perceptions or filters, but most of us will never ever see that because we are human. We have our own stuff going on, and other people too. And we're never going to fully experience the same thing as another person because we couldn't. Nothing can be 100% duplicated ever. I can't re-experience the same thing either. Something may be similar. We can relate to stories and experiences, but the real truth is that everything is a unique expression of God, of the divine, of your soul. So it's humbling, and this is the feminine side and this is the masculine. I'm mirroring you, so you're seeing it. Looks like I'm pointing to my right, but it's my left. And as the feminine side, it's about what we receive and allow to come to us, whereas the masculine is all about the giving and the doing and the action. This is the nurturing. Am I nurturing and giving myself enough self-care? Am I receiving and allowing what I need to, or am I blocking it and rejecting it? Because these different physical manifestations are telling us everything we need to know about ourselves and what's going on really deep down into the psyche, into the conscious, into the unconscious, the subconscious. It's clear the conscious, we're kind of there, but it's about the awareness and the mindfulness of paying attention and being the witness to everything that goes on up in here. Not letting the monkey mind take over, because it creates stories that don't even exist. Even when you reflect upon a story in your life, you're not even seeing it as it was at the time. You're seeing it through the filter of where you're at right now, and everything you believe and have experienced. Everything changes, even your perception, as you evolve and grow through life. So our struggles are just perceptions based on the belief systems we're holding at the moment and the experiences we're having in the time we're having this awareness. Oh, I'm struggling. Oh, this is happening. Oh, my life. Oh, woe is me. Yeah, we can go there. Pity party, whatever. It's all good. But try not to go rehash that out with your friends, because you know what? We're not trying to commiserate. We want to uplift and support each other in a spirit of love. And sometimes it's all about the tough love. And hopefully, if you have friends who tend to go in the pity party direction, you're the type of friend that they admire, appreciate, and are open to receiving when you say, I don't believe that for a moment. And I know you're stronger than that. And you're going to get through this, and the solution is there. You just need to stop looking at the problem. Because it's all about seeing something and just seeing the silver lining. And if you can also remind yourself that no matter what's going on in your life, it's just part of the path and how you're being guided to flow along it, not to turn around and get stuck. Because again, physical manifestations of pain and tightness are really just blockages because you got stuck somewhere along the way. This, to me, it's draining something out. And I was thinking to myself at one point, I'm like, do I need to go to the doctor? And then I started going, well, wait a minute, this is a lymph node. And the lymphatic system is all about collecting all of the toxicity, the bacteria, the pathogens, whatever's going on, to flush it out of the system. So all I need to do is give my body a rest and allow it to do what it needs to do to heal. Right? I hope this is helping everyone. Anybody else out there struggling on this Manic Monday? I'm grateful because it didn't cut out on me again. I did do a live version of that song and I wasn't sure. But it was it was one of those songs that I just like, I hadn't heard that in a while anyway. So again, I know I don't have to tell you, if you share my videos, you're going to find that you're going to help somebody, and you might not even expect the person who ends up feeling grateful to you for sharing my video. You may turn around and go, share my video, you share it to your page, and somebody you don't, the person you least expect reaches out to you and goes, you know, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I was really struggling, and you sharing that video really turned me into what was going on in my life. It's amazing, you know, that 1 degree of separation, that you could be the catalyst for somebody else's transformation, upliftment, love, support, inspiration. It's amazing. That's why I'm all about sharing is caring. Spreading the love, creating a high vibe tribe. Get your sassy on. Do a little dance. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight. Get down tonight. And I truly do appreciate every single one of you for sharing my videos and just being amazing, showing up here and listening to me speak. I don't always know what's going to come out, and when it does, I'm like going, oh, like I said, some of the times I'm listening to myself going, I might have to listen to that video again because I'm getting something that I needed to focus on. And I'm like going, oh, do I have to fast? I got this beautiful jackfruit I just got. And because it's cut, I know I have to take the meat off of the one section, and hopefully the threads that are covering the rest of it will be okay. So, yeah. Oh, so Victoria, there's a, yes, okay, so your shingles occurs on your left. That is interesting. And I would do a little research. Here's what I do, because I don't have everybody's answer, and you will be divinely guided through the research you do. I'm a Google fanatic. I go on it, Google, and if I were you, you know what I would do? I would turn around and look up the different reasons for masculine, what the masculine side represents, like I was expressing to you. And sometimes you're given too much, or maybe you're not giving enough, but everybody's going to know their situation differently, right? And the nodule, my first intuition is saying you're probably over giving and not nurturing, because the shingles is occurring on the left. So you're give, and don't allow to receive. This is just me. This is what I would read into it. And shingles is a nervous system, right? So something in your electromagnetic field, your electricity, the body works off of, is being shorted, and it's creating that as a reaction. That's just my intuitive share, but I suggest and recommend that you go online, maybe even look up Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Body. She has a lot of great information on that. Another great doctor is Christiane Northrup, and she's amazing too. These are women who have been in the field of recognizing the energy bodies and how it actually manifests in the physical body, whether the trauma and all that. And then you can work on healing whatever it is that you need to heal in your body by starting with the mind. I always say the breath is going to be the most important, because when you start breathing deep, and like I said, the left lung holds the grief. And for those of you shallow breathers, you're going to experience, bursts of joy, bursts of tears. Emotion is going to come up that you haven't touched because you start to get deep into the pelvic floor, into the belly, and the lung is going, whew, finally some relief. So tears tend to surface. Some of my friends have shared with me how their first yoga session, they just laid in Shavasana bawling, tears just pouring and not even understanding where they were coming from. But it was really about that they took that time for that physical movement and that breathing. Because with yoga, a lot of the movement is with the breath. You inhale into one posture, you exhale into another. Whether it's Hatha Vinyasa or you're doing Kundalini. And the more you just get that blood pumping, oxygenated, you're pushing out anything that could even live there. Because most of the stuff that's going on in the body is because stuff is entering the body because the body's not getting the oxygen. And when you oxygenate the blood, things can't live in there. Whether it be cancer or whether it be candida or any type of dis-ease. The more you oxygenate the body, the cells, the organs, nothing else can live in there. And that's the key. That's why the breath is so important. I can't even stress it enough. And I have to heed it myself. Because for many years of my life, I was stuck. I was restricted right here in my chest. And I've shared before that sometimes I get like, I can't get that breath. I get stuck in because I'm either really, really excited or I'm subtly, sometimes not always clearly, obviously, also nervous or fearful of something. And it gets stuck and I'll be sitting there and people will look at me where I'm like trying to get that deep breath. And I don't even like people to look at me because I feel like it distracts me. It's just a weird thing that I go through. So yeah, I think that it's the most important thing you can do. And you know what? I also want to stress my understanding about menopause, because it's gotten such a dirty connotation when you say the word menopause, is that menopause is supposed to be when we like come into our wisdom. Menopause is all about your inner goddess, your wisdom. Again, Christiane Northrup, she wrote the book about goddesses, Menopause is when we're even more in tune. And it's so important to heal yourself before you get to menopause, because you won't go through all the hot flashes and all these symptoms. Because what's happening, what my intuition says about premenopausal issues, it's stuff that's coming up for healing so you can transition into that wise woman stage of your life. It's like we become even more aware and tuned in to the wisdom that is within our bodies. As women, we have senses that I know men can't even grasp. This body houses and it creates life. So as much as I intermittently fast, oh, that's awesome. She's amazing. Even intermittent fasting for women, it's something I'm also getting ready to do some research on because it's made me curious. We need different nutrients, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but play with it as your body listen to it. I usually will intermittent fast up until at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It just depends on my schedule. And mostly it's because I'm not hungry. It's just that I don't exercise on a full stomach. I don't put food in my body before I do something that's going to, like physical exertion and exercise. I've always learned and been taught and been aware that you shouldn't have a full stomach because your body can't multitask like that, and it's not healthy. And again, you're going to create, your body's not necessarily going to process the food properly or even get it absorbed, right? So, exactly, Wendy, it's so true. So the more we clear our body, mind, body, and soul, the the transition. I know women who haven't even had all these issues, and it depends on you when you're going to go through premenopause or menopause. Not all women are going to go through it okay, there's a myth about these ages, and there's this whole group of people who want to kind of pull you into, oh, you might be experiencing the first symptoms of menopause. And I'm like, don't be pulling me into your crazy wagon. My body's going through transitions because I'm working on stuff. And it's kind of funny because I'm only 40, I'm going to be 43. And hey, Vandana, oh my gosh, send me Amma. She's at Amma's gathering up in Atlanta. She's the hugging saint, if you don't know who Amma is. She's amazing. And I have not yet seen her in person, but she's definitely been with me for a long time. So I'm only going to be 43 this summer, and I've had people, because I've shared what my body was going through, and I've also experienced conversations where my friends are like, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. And I said, it's got to be energy. Stuff is really changing. So much stuff. Agreed, Shelly, I'm young. I don't even look at it as an age. It's just a number. And I don't feel like I'm jumping into menopause anytime soon. In fact, my family, as far as I'm understanding, my grandmother had 9 children, and I know, I could be in my 60s easily, because my mother also didn't start until much later, the menopause transition. And so to me, I'm like going, don't even talk to me about menopause, because I've got my own body, and everybody's going to go through it. And it's a belief system. It's a biology belief, Bruce Lipton. If you're hanging around a bunch of women who are going through menopause, you might just get dragged along with it. If that's the topic of conversation, you are the sum of the 3 people you hang out with the most. Keep that in mind, because most of us, don't they say, yeah, 13's a good age. No, actually 13 was about that transition for puberty for me. So I'm like, I think 17, maybe 16 was good. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's all perfect. But, yeah, it really, you got to consider who you're hanging out with. If you're hanging around with a lot of people that are, vibrant and youthful and playful and fun, and your conversation is nothing to do with menopause, well, yeah, you're going to have lots of fun. Your life is great. But if you're hanging around a bunch of, people, like I witnessed this with my dad's wife, for example. The mind is so powerful. Her best friend, who was also named Carol, actually had cancer. And then I'm not lying, my dad's wife, she ended up with cancer. And it's just crazy. Sometimes it's almost like a subconscious wanting to fit in and to relate. But we don't even know why we do it, except for it really boils down to the belief systems and the stuff we need to work on healing. It's amazing how we can manifest things in our lives and not even realize how we did it. But the more you tune into who you are and what's all going on inside, you listen, you tap into the inner child. You go, okay, what is it you need from me today? What can I do to support you? What is it that you want to do? What do you want to experience? Let's go get into something. What are we going to have fun doing today? I might actually go mow my yard, because I think the rain threatening may have passed. But I do hope this was informative. There's so much going on. We have no idea, because we're not always paying attention. And that's where the breathing comes in. Because some of it we don't need to confront. Some of it we don't need to know all the details. But just to give it yourself the attention to really tap into, wow, I just neglected that this was going on. I was trying to ignore it. I love you all. I send you lots of love and light, lots of blessings, and I love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, everybody who tunes in, because you are the reason I'm here. I wouldn't even be here if I didn't have somebody who is supportive as much as you are. And I can't even fathom. Thank you, Sandy. You all rock. So let's rock this Monday. and get mindful. Deep belly breathing. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Because it's all about the heart and soul, baby. Prana, life force. Move it or you lose it. Mwah! Bye.